All right. Good evening. We're gonna run through the market structure and kind of see what's going on and discuss some plays. Um, Couple things just as discussed previously with Bitcoin. Obviously, that blue candle got shut down pretty quick, aka the green candle turned into a red candle. We're still seeing downward pressure as far as selling pressure for Bitcoin. Just as we talked about previously, we're not seeing a lot of price action to really push us out of the zone. It's more of a consolidation, right? So you're hearing a lot of people talking about, oh, everything looks good, bullish, bullish, bullish. I would say be cautious, be on the side of caution. If we kind of erase everything I have here, right? We've got two zones. We got consolidation, and then we've got another zone, right? And we've got consolidation. So I just want to point out the obvious, right? So you have those two zones, consolidation zones. You have a kind of point A, and then you have and I would really kind of bring that down to right about here, a point B. So I'm going to point those out to you to make them a little more obvious, right? So you got zone A and you got zone B. Now, where do we go from here, right? So zone A, zone B, you got two moves, you got consolidation, consolidation. Does the build look good? Yes, the build looks great. This is what I would want to see in a market that is consolidating. The issue I'm having with the consolidation is a couple different things. We've got to build long in a bear market, right? So we've got a market that's building long. The trend is now pushing away from the previous trend, right? So we've angled up, then we've angled up again. And a lot of people will be like, oh, that's just because we're getting more and more bullish. I wouldn't necessarily say that, right? Because if we use things like RSI, we use things like stochastic, if you understand these things, and these are very much lagging indicators. Don't get me wrong. So I don't want you to use them as gospel, but I'll say with the lag, with the price build, it's telling me everything I need to know, right? We're getting close to moving towards top of range. We're above the 50. They're enticing buyers to step in at highs. And when I say at highs, I mean at overbought sides of the trade. Underbought is below the 50. So if you'd have bought anywhere below this 50, aka anywhere in here, you would now be up, right? So your situation would be a lot better. Now you're buying into territory that has more likeliness of pushing up and then coming back down deep. And so the reason that I say this is because we're looking at bullish price action in a bear market. And you can say, well, that's because the market's recovering. Yes, I paused. So the reason I paused is because we have to understand what a market recovery is. Well, tell me what exactly recovered in the market. Did the basis point hikes go down? Gas is still up almost 2x from previous price. Even with the current price dropbacks, are people making more money? Are jobs improving? Is demand falling back with all of this, right? Our house price is dropping, so everybody can afford $500,000 for a house. We have to understand the economy is going to take cool down phases, all right? Just like our phase over here, this was the first initial drop. This was the first telling of what was coming, right? This is where they told you. This is where I told people they were building long to take out liquidity, aka build buyers so they can sell. What did they do immediately after? They created what we call a bear flag, and they took liquidity, just as expected. This is why you have to be careful with reading into narratives, reading into the media, social media, reading into all these different things, and understand what the intention is for building long, right? If you're building long in the market, right, that means somebody is buying your bags. Who's buying your bags? Well, it'll be Mr. Market Maker. Do you think Mr. Market Maker wants to buy your bags to hold your bags for you? Or do you think that Mr. Market Maker wants to buy your bags so he can sell later? Or they, right? So I would anticipate that they were going to sell later. And you can see here the volatility here is huge, right? You got huge volatility, 40% move. From top to bottom of the entire move, you were looking at almost a 50% move for Bitcoin, right? People right now are getting way overly bullish on this move. Now, what does this move currently look like? Oh, look at that, 40%. So what do you think happens if we get another 10% on the move? Well, let's go ahead and look at that. What would 10% on that 40% if we get 10%? Isn't that about $27,000? Haven't we been talking about $25,000, $29,000 as top of range? That's what I'm anticipating. I'm anticipating at some point they make the big move into the dump, right? So currently building long structure is exactly that. It's where structure builds long, and then it builds long with the intention to go short. When you're looking for structure to break out, you're looking for structure to be building short. Yeah, they built short and then they went long. See how that works? Build short, went long. Again, I'm only showing you because I keep seeing it day in and day out, day in and day out. The same old, same old. So I just wanted to kind of point that out as more of the obvious end. Something else I found kind of interesting is if you kind of squeeze this together, right? And you look at the structure as a whole, I would say we're almost moving into what I would consider an Elliott wave function, right? So what does an Elliott wave function look like? Well, it looks like this. You got your 0 into your 1, into your 2, into your 3, into probably your 4, into your 5. Or maybe 4 goes right here, right? The structure I was telling you guys before, right here. Maybe this is where they hold and they make the next move for the 5, right? So you got an Elliott wave structure going on here. You've got really good buildup going on here. But if we look at this from an Elliott wave structure standpoint, eventually we're going to get a corrective wave, right? Even if we're in a bull market, or not market, sorry. Even if we're moving into a bullish momentum, even in a bear, right? You're still going to see structure that's going to support more downside. That's going to be your pullback. So I'm not looking for the pullback to be smaller than the move. I'm looking for the pullback to technically be bigger than the move, right? Expectations will be we hit right here, we bounce. People will be like, oh yeah, we're going long, we're going long. The thing that they'll miss, and a lot of people will miss once this happens, is the break in market structure that will occur, right? So BMS right in here now, because our structure is building, and if we take off from here and make a move up, this will be our next BMS. What do you think happens when price breaks this BMS? Well, when it breaks this BMS, it's now changed structure. So what that means is that if price gets up to this point and breaks this BMS, it will come down to this BMS and continue breaking structure. Now, why would it do that? Well, just like how it's building long, right? Like we talked about. See how support is building long? Support would then be building short. AKA more downside. So expectations are there, but if we look at it from a risk to reward standpoint, right? Your reward currently in the current structure, and this is why you should not play this higher than the current resistance if you're going to get in, is right here. That's your reward. So if you were to take a long here, as we discussed here in the FS group, you would get 6%, 5.68%. Sorry. So if we know we're only gonna get 5.86%, is that really worth the downside if we know that price can fall back too? Well, what's the downside? Minus 29%. So you get a 29% or 6. But you can mitigate this by just setting price just below this weight, right? Now, with this buildup, right, price could even come as low as this price right here. So really, in reality, if you want to be extra safe and you want to take the long from here, you could do that, or you could take the long lower if price can get there, right? Which would be this little move right here, this little blue candle, and then you can set your stop at 22,247. If price breaks below 22,247, you can let it break below, comes back through, take your exit, and then get out and know that it's going to come deeper. So these are a couple different scenarios that I'm looking at right now with Bitcoin. I would say this right here, you know, when we talk about Wyckoff, right? And a lot of people like to utilize that. I'm like, oh, nobody can know Wyckoff. Wyckoff and no Wyckoff and no Wyckoff. Yes, I would say Elliott wave / ABC is the exact definition of what Wyckoff becomes, right? It becomes a structure that builds into a structure, that retraces into a structure, that builds into a structure, that retraces into a structure that builds into a structure, that retraces into a structure, and so on and so forth. Builds into a structure, that retraces into a structure to the downside. So be very, very careful with the market. I would say your 0A, B, and then your C is down here, right? And then you got your 0A, B, C, and then you get your drop. So be careful with the structure. Understand the structure and understand what's going on. But building long so far, so not bad, right? My expectations is that price will probably fall back to here, just like we talked about previously, probably somewhere in there. And if it falls deeper than that, I would expect that it'll come all the way back to previous price right here and try and retest this price zone, just like it did right here, right? So last down before the last up, price fell back. So you would expect the same thing here, but in reality, it was this move right here is where they flipped it. This is where they held support. So they came back and revisited that zone, recovered the liquidity. They can come a little bit deeper, but more than likely they'll come back up to retest the highs, right? And could they get higher than the highs? Sure, they can get higher than the highs. That'll be your wave 5 though. So if we're looking at the last leg of the move, that's your 1, 2, 3 moves in total, right? Consolidation 1, consolidation 2, 3. Now 3 doesn't even have to consolidate. It can consolidate for a little bit, but it's going to come back. So be careful. I'm not saying Bitcoin's going to do this immediately. Maybe this comes later. But right now, I would say we're going to definitely look at a corrective wave regardless. And that corrective wave, I think, would at least come out to 20K. And then, you know, potentially, if it's going to move off that, it can move off of that. And maybe this was the bottom. But we're not calling bottoms here because that's not a smart thing to do. It's never a smart thing to do. You call a bottom, you have to commit to it. And I know tons of people that just constantly call bottoms on every single move. So I wouldn't say this is the bottom myself because price action hasn't proven that yet. You'll never know where the bottom was until you've consolidated and the bottom has revealed itself, right? But we're not looking to buy bottoms. We're looking to buy near bottoms. Because if you're looking to buy bottom, good luck. That's all I can tell you. Nobody's going to tell you that. Even if they tell you they can tell you that, there's no way they can tell you that. Nobody knows the bottom. So we need to see consolidation. Once we see consolidation, we'll then know we're near a bottom. And then, you know, that could be a good place to DCA. That's how I'm playing it right now. A lot of people, you know, you can find structure and build DCA points however you want. That's up to you. All right, so that covers Bitcoin in a nutshell. Now we're going to go over ETH real quick. ETH kind of in a similar scenario. You see right here, I've already drawn out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Level 1, level 2, level 3. This is what I'm waiting for level 3. And then I'm looking for that corrective wave at the level 3. So price, I am expecting for ETH to come deeper. You're probably like, why would it come deeper? Because price has already broken structure. I don't care if price is getting structure up here. It's already showed me it wants to break structure. I'm expecting price, no matter what happens, to come back to structure. Well, look where structure is. All right, and timeline wise, I don't know. Maybe it drops here. Maybe it drops here. Maybe it drops here, right? But we're looking for that corrective wave. And my expectations are going to be, you know, October when we'll see ETH, you know, close to its bottom. And the reason for that is because I'm looking at timelines. I'm looking at when does the market do the best? When does the market do the worst throughout the year? Now, on both the bullish side and bearish side, keep in mind. And there are points in the year, September being one of those, that are really bad, right? Just like May, June, July. And I told people, hey, May things are really going to turn down. They're going to be really bad because that's how they were last year. Same thing. Did history not repeat itself? We have February, March, April, right? This is your whole bear flag. May, and what happens in May? Boom. Now, over here, what happens in May? Boom. I can't make it any more obvious for you guys. Look, June, July, you get that big run up, right? September, drop. June, July, you get that big run up. September, drop. Now, I wouldn't be expecting something like this and be like, okay, well, we're only gonna drop a little bit. So, you know, this is good. We're good here. No. The reason for that is because price itself, right, over here with Bitcoin was very bullish, right? May, June, July. Look at Bitcoin. Look at the run up on Bitcoin. Look at ETH. Did ETH do anywhere near the same? 128. Bitcoin. $136. Bitcoin outpaced ETH. Okay. So if ETH is outpacing Bitcoin, that's not a good sign. They should be very similarly in line. Seems like exit liquidity to me at the end of the day. Yeah, so we got the big outpace right now. I think we're up 128% on ETH, something like that. And I think Bitcoin is maybe up. Oh no, sorry. I keep grabbing the box rather than measure. 40%. So BTC is up 40%. There's no interest in crypto. Bitcoin's not the one pumping. I'm sorry. Like, ETH does not run the market. Bitcoin runs the market. It's just like saying Tesla, versus the S&P. Now, the S&P here is very interesting, right? So I have a lot of zones. You can see right here where I'm calling rejection around 4,290. We're going to clear the chart. We're going to look at it from that perspective, and we're going to say, why? 4,290. Look at price, right? It can be a little higher, it could be a little lower, but look at price. Look at support. Look at resistance. That's your biggest resistance. To me, that's kind of what I think they're going for. If I'm wrong, then they're at rejection pretty much right now, right? So it'll either be rejection will either occur at 41.77 or it will occur at 42.90, right? And I expect when this move happens, we're going to see a big dump. Because this move right here, if you look at it, look, does that not look kind of the same? And what happens? Now look. Does that not kind of look the same? Gotta be careful in these markets, guys. Can't just be eating up what people are telling you. It's the same move repeated twice. All right. Bear markets have huge rallies. It happens. They have huge rallies. You're gonna have huge pushes, huge moves in the market. Don't get overly bullish. Just let things calm down. Look, volatility does not equal consolidation. Okay? When this volatility stops doing this and you see things just kind of titter-tatting over here a little bit, like just kind of moving sideways. Nobody's interested. Nobody's interested. You're good, right? Where has that happened before? Right over here. Right? Solid consolidation right there. Solid consolidation right here. Solid consolidation right here. Look at this. No real price act, just staying in a range. This that you're seeing right here, like when price is going like this, be careful. All right? Be careful. That's all I'm saying. That is not showing that the market has calmed down. It's not showing the market is stabilized. It is showing me that people are getting FOMO'd in both directions. All right? What does that mean? That means people are scared they're going to miss out. Then people are scared they're buying too high, right? So that means people are buying tops and selling bottoms. If people bought here, you have to understand where the chart is. This is a top. Like you are buying way above entry price, way above the bounce, extremely above the bounce, right? On the S&P. You're probably, oh, that's only 15%. That's huge for the S&P. That's huge. That's why people are like, oh, bottom to bottom, because they're seeing this. They said that last time. They said that. Look at this green week, all the way up. It's just green. What happened? Still fell over. Now we got green. It's I can't make it any. I can't make this stuff up. I just can't. You know, like the fact that there's a lot of people out there just pushing people to buy in at positions that make no sense. You're buying resistance right now, also. Right? This is a clear resistance. You never buy at resistance. You could buy at support, right? If price breaks above here and starts making support, sure. If it starts consolidating at support, sure, no problem. That I think is a good solid position to be taking. And yeah, price could fall back from that support, but the fact is you're buying on support. You're not buying on resistance. When you're buying underneath, you're buying against resistance. I'll tell you that. Okay. I think that's the smartest thing you can tell somebody is never buy at resistance, but you can buy on support. Whether it be here, doesn't matter. Buy on support. All right. ADA. Still consolidating. All right. Still consolidating. I think ADA is in a consolidation phase. Now, do I think ADA is necessarily bottom? Not really, because volume has gone extremely down on ADA. There's just not enough interest, and these big bag holders are just sitting here waiting for profit. Eventually, they will get sick of this, and they will pull their money, and you'll see ADA drop to the next level. I do think there's a solid floor of liquidity around the 15 cent zone, though. I really do. Do I think 50 cents is bad? Not necessarily, but you got to think about it. If you catch it here, you can catch it here for much cheaper. But again, we've talked about this before. You know, you can just do the pyramid that we've talked about, right? And you can just simply, buy in at certain percentages, at certain prices, 10%, 20%, 30%, as it's dropping, and just put that much of your portfolio in those positions. That'll keep you in a good spot to where you can get into ADA pretty well. Matic, again, another one of those. This is going to be a nasty one. Look, you can see clear resistance, and it's going back up for a third time. Even if it peaks through kind of high, I can see this thing really dumping. I'm expecting Matic to come back hard. I don't even know how to drove liquidity back up into these zones, but it's pretty crazy in my opinion. But you can see right here, where's the order block? Right here. Where are they starting to slow down at? On the order block. Did they ever close above this order line? No. Did price ever really get above that order block? It did a little bit. Again, this is premium pricing right up here. This is what I would consider premium pricing. Again, you're under resistance, not a key zone to be buying anything. Solana, another one of those. So Solana fell back pretty hard, in my opinion. It's got a little bounce here. They did just get hacked also. So I think this bear flag is going to start breaking down. I really do. I think Solana's losing steam as far as momentum. You can see it in the volume. Look at the volume. Look at the beginning volume, right? And look at volume since then. It's just been falling off a cliff. It dropped down over here, and now it's kind of dropping down again. There's just no real interest in the network, in my opinion. By looking at volume and looking at price, again, it's not me just like, I don't like this network. I'm literally telling you because I'm seeing this in the chart. The chart's telling me this. We're building long in a no volume scenario, right? We had all this price action over here. We had this big run up, right? And we had almost no volume. It makes no sense. I don't even know why I have this chart on here anymore. I'm just gonna get rid of Litecoin. There's nothing going on right now. Google, again, we're still playing the bear flag. We did find support above the zone. Okay, again, and I also want to point out too, this is on the weekly. I've been pointing this out, but if you look at it on the daily, look at the highs and lows. You can see Google's pretty much trapped. It's consolidating pretty well, right? You could buy in those bottoms, and this is kind of where I've been picking it up around $105, $106. You can pick it up in this zone from 105 to 107, and then you can just sell it right up here in this zone. This is where I've been selling right around 115 to 114. So it's solid to kind of play the ups and downs on, but it's not. There's nothing going on right now with Google that I can see stock wise. A lot of stocks look like they're recovering, but in reality, they're just pretty much going vertical. Disney over here, literally same zone, doing nothing. Hitting a resistance, I would say key resistance would probably be up higher, probably right around here. I think that's going to be key resistance. So we could, I told you guys this last time, 116, 120, I think it's possible for Disney to get to. And then once we hit there, I would definitely be not be looking to hold Disney. I don't even know if I want to short these markets right now. Okay, so now we're moving into the swing low, just like we talked about last time. They're finally moving into it. We should see price come up here to about 144.60. I would look for a short on this. I don't think Amazon's gonna break all-time high. No way. No way. Amazon, I think they're gonna curl right back down from here. So could I be wrong? Sure. But again, resistance. All things are coming to resistance. That's not a good thing. Come over to Lucid. This is one of my favorites. Lucid again hitting its resistance right here. Good sell point if you bought into Lucid like we talked about it before. Around like 1676, you can sell right here around $20. It's a very obvious channel that they're running in. I think Lucid long run, I think it's a good play. But I think this is the fair value position right here, in my opinion. Could Lucid go deeper? Yes. But I think man, this is a long term for me. Okay? Lucid's a long term for me, and I think long term they will succeed. This is a premium place to be buying. You could have bought Lucid for as cheap as really as $13. But, this is one that you guys should definitely keep your eyes on, okay? Lucid's an EV, just FYI, in case you're looking. So, again, key resistance. Look at all this consolidation here. We're underneath of that. We're not above it. We're underneath of it. So, they would have to get above 450, in my opinion, to be able to be find support. And then they would have to close and consolidate above that. They close and consolidate above 450, I would be like, all right, they'll probably range now between 5 and 450. So that would be a good range to play the range, but I'm still expecting more downturn down here, right? Really, if you look at Adobe, they haven't made any strides at all this week. They've just kind of been sitting there, doing nothing, coming up to a resistance, but there are key resistances that they can get into also. We look at the dollar, or bonds, bonds. What are bonds doing? Are they falling anymore? Or are they going back up? Just like we talked about. Bonds are consolidating, okay? Consolidating. Don't get played. These things will go higher. The Fed is going to start selling bonds. That's going to increase. When bonds sell, bond goes up, right? The bond percentage goes up. Why does it go up? It goes up to entice more buyers, to keep it balanced. And if nobody buys bonds, the Fed will eventually put more pressure on the market, so they will have to. And you're probably like, what do you mean, so they'll have to? The Fed will make it so borrowing money is virtually impossible by raising rates to a ridiculous amount if they have to force people to buy bonds. That's how the government makes money. You let the government borrow your money, they pay you a guaranteed interest. If nobody lets them borrow their money, guess what? They'll wreck everybody else, so that way you let them borrow your money. That's how this thing works. It's one big Ponzi. That's all the whole economics is in the US. Big Ponzi scheme. It's like, if you don't give us your money, then we'll screw everybody else. That's basically it. We're not going to get too deep into it, but it's ridiculous. All right, so Tesla still following through. Okay, so just like over here, look at this run up over here. Then the move, then the run up, right? What are we seeing right now? We're seeing a widening wedge. Tesla, I'm looking to come up and try and peak here. Now, does it have to start shortening like this? No. It could continue to widen and get more volatile, right? Which would make it very unstable. It means it'll probably crash hard. We can see Tesla come as low as $50 if things get really bad. Now, the reason, I'm going to point this out, the reason that I think they'll start consolidating is because Tesla, I think, is, long run, they have a lot of good plays. And so we'll see these lower highs, right? And this widening wedge will actually turn to a decline wedge, right? That's what we're looking for a healthy move for Tesla. All right, so continuing through. So if we get into the situation where we start getting a decline wedge in this current widening wedge, that could be a very good sign that Tesla is looking to consolidate and really make a big move, right? So we've moved from this uptrend to now this downtrend. This is good. This is really good. It's just we need this thing not to be widening and to turn to like a decline wedge, right? Right now, it's not done that. Right now, it's still a widening wedge, and I think they will push for this upper range of 922, roughly $1,000. and then we should see price fall back, in my opinion, all the way down to like roughly $500, right? We could see it fall to 568, something like that, and then probably down here and consolidate above around 472. So that's where I would look for it, and then I think that they'll start getting shorter and shorter, and then we could see another big leg for Tesla, in my opinion. Do I think? I don't think it's gonna be ridiculous, but I think this is gonna be a solid buy in that 500 range. Really, really solid buy in my opinion. All right, so push it forward. Twitter again, $20 stock to me, guys. That's it for Twitter. I wouldn't put a penny more. Right here, Twitter is now under the 50. It's very bearish. Stochastic showing it way oversold. Doesn't matter. It's gonna come up. It's gonna hit this 50. It's gonna come out. Nobody's interested in the stock. Again, I'm not purposely bashing Twitter specifically. It has no price action. It's one of the worst performing stocks, in my opinion, that I've ever seen. Like, I've never seen a stock that grows like this. There's no growth. Stocks that grow, they move. There's no, look, this stock has been around since 14, okay? Let me show you something. This stock has been around since 2015 as far as being listed, right? It's been out longer. So I think both of them maybe have been out a little bit longer. But let's just go with this. 15 started here, right? Look at that. I don't care about the drop. Drop's one thing, right? Look at that. 10,177. Less time. Now let's look at Twitter. Twitter out the gate, hit the floor. 482. The worst performing stock I've ever seen in a year-by-year revenue basis. They make no money. There's no purpose for this place. I don't even know how they fund themselves or keep afloat. Maybe through advertising or whatever, right? And you could be like, well, this is an advertising platform, yada, yada, yada. Okay, let's compare it to Google. And you can be like, well, Google's got more time. Like, that's fine. Google does have more time. You are 100% correct. Let's go and put it on a month-by-month basis. Look at that. Google. Funny, right? Look at that. Let's do that with Twitter, month-by-month basis. It's insane. It's barely broken all-time high here. Barely broken. Like, it almost makes me feel like Twitter's gonna go bankrupt because you had that big ABC on that long period of time. Look at this. I want to point it out. A, B, C. Right? I mean, structure to me is building long for Twitter, right? It is building long. But you have this ceiling that has just been here. Now, keep in mind, could I be wrong? Sure I could. There's always that potential. Maybe they're just building long to explode. What, in 10 years? It's not worth the effort to me to buy the stock. I would not touch this stock with your money. Wouldn't touch it with my enemy's money. It's a pointless stock. It has no growth. I'm not trying to bash Twitter specifically due to anything that they do. It's just that they're not generating interest. They have no interest. Nobody's interested in them. Oil has better interest than they do. All right, so oil, how are we holding up? Still holding the zone. Expectations, if we break below on the monthly and we can start closing monthly below, we can come back down and retest this swing low right here. This would be your key zone to be watching, because if price broke through here, I would expect a break in market structure for oil, and I would expect that it's going to go to zero again. Again, by the way, for those of you who don't believe me, there you go. So breaking market structure would mean that it would be positive. It would be positive, right? It'd be positive for markets. But it'd mean that basically price came down, came up, broke market structure right here. This would be your market structure. And then you probably see price hit here, come up, down, but come up, and then it'll just start breaking structure from there. And then probably do one of these off a cliff again. So be careful if that happens. Right now, I still feel it's bullish. It's still building. It's still building what? Higher lows, right? Higher highs. So, and really, to me, this is a one. You got one pullback here, one pullback here, wherever this lands, and then I mean, there's really no break in this move, right? You got some consolidation here, which should apply for a solid floor. And if we look at that consolidation all across the zone, what do we notice here? What do we notice? Oh, look at that, right? And then same thing over here, it came down under, and yeah, I had this little thing, and look at that. So be careful. It could very well try and pull another one of those, come back to, and then take off. So this is kind of the zone where it likes to do that. This is the zone where it moves out of the zone. You can see it over here, see it over here, see it over here. So be careful. They could consolidate above it just like they have before. See? Yeah, they found support and they just continue to build long. Continue to build long. Eventually it will tilt over, but right now it's still moving. Oil's got to look at that. For that little pullback, it's already almost back to the 50. It's above the 50, so it could still be bullish. I would like to remain above that point right there, that bounce point, because I'd hate to see the structure of oil come down and hit the 50 and bounce off, really, in reality, because it'd be kind of breaking the move right here. It would be more strength, selling pressure strength, than buying pressure strength. If we get more selling pressure strength, it means the move could bounce back up, but it'll more than likely be a lower high on there, probably line up with this side, and then it'll start breaking structure to the downside, and then the oil will be looking to go down. So stochastic's starting to show that it's starting to break through the 50, but that stochastic's different, right? RSI needs to remain above the 50. Stochastic can go all the way down here to the bottom and come right back up to 20. This just measured oversold, overbought. This right here measured the strength of the move, relative strength index. If we look right here, price is being push, but we see something very similar with high risk assets. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's in a similar situation. We're on top of the move. We're not on bottom. We're not oversold. We're not oversold anymore. This is oversold. This is oversold. We are now overbought. We're moving into overbought territory. Above the 50s overbought. We have to understand that. Stochastic's even showing that price is overbought for Bitcoin. So you're getting the same thing with ETH. ETH's actually worse. So look at ETH. You got declining strength, overbought. Price pushed up. You got a big red dot right here, which is indicating some heavy selling pressure. You're hitting ceilings now. You're hitting ceilings that will eventually put pressure to the downside on this move. You're building long and your strength is decreasing, which means that people are not coming in anymore. It means people stop buying at these levels. So these are things you have to watch out for. Okay. Moving into BNB. BNB still following the channel very well. BNB exploding. I think we're almost getting like a mini altcoin season. It's a little weird to say that in a bear market, but you see all the alts are rallying. BNB way overbought, way overbought, way overbought on the stochastic. Yeah, I can't see BNB really doing a lot here from where it's at. I think BNB is going to start coming back. You can see right here, it's already hit resistance / support over here. So we could see price, kind of dip way down from here. I'm expecting when BNB does break back, it's going to come back eventually and kind of recover all this liquidity. We'll probably see it stop around 142, kind of hang out for a while, and then consolidate to a lower position. I got BNB coming all the way back to like $50, and then there's also potential that could come lower, right? BNB is still a new asset overall, so be careful with that. All right, we discussed shop, right? We said consolidating really well in here. We kind of broke out the consolidation zone. I'm expecting price now to move potentially for shop if the markets stay rallying from here all the way up to $50. So if we can move it to $50, great. If not, then we will fall back below this position and start consolidating again in the same zone. There's no W's, there's no M's. This is just consolidation. It could peak higher or whatever. There's no pattern formation to show what the market's trying to do. It just market's buying, selling. That's what consolidation is, right? You're holding the zone. It gets to this price, you're buying. You come up here, you're selling. This is a trader's market, easy trader's market. So it's a good stock to trade, but not probably a good stock to buy into right this moment. Let the move kind of provide its direction first, and then once it kind of provides its direction, you go with that. All right, Netflix. Let's get into that one. So Netflix still following through. Netflix looks like it kind of hit a hard ceiling right here. Kind of weird, but I thought it would go a little bit higher and try and press these supports right here. but it may not. We'll see. I still expect price to come up to this 250 something zone and then to come back down deeper. That's my expectations. Does that mean it's gonna 100% happen? Don't know. We'll see. Dixie. Dixie's still pushing through. We did reject, still on rejection look. We pushed through, but then rejected again. So we got basically 1, which is where we fell through, 2. And if I get a third week, I'm going to have a problem with this. I'm going to expect price to come back down, right? Where will I expect price to come back down to? Well, if I want to keep building long, I can't come back down to here. I need to come back down to here. I'm expecting price to bounce around 103884. So I expect price will bounce there. It'll be this right here, this candle right here, that they'll be coming back to recover, and I think they'll start moving off of that again. So that pullback, this little pullback, could be enough to push high risk up high, and that's where Bitcoin will kind of make its last move. ETH will make its last move, and then after that, it should bounce and move up, and then we should see the market pretty much at that point kind of pull back, which will be the ABC correction, aka / sell-off. So digital yuan US dollar has not really moved. It's kind of moved back into this consolidation zone. This is a little bit of a consolidation zone over here, kind of the same thing. So we're staying above previous consolidation, kind of holding that weight. This is good for the yuan. I think ultimately it could allow the yuan to push past the dollar as long as it holds structure. If the yuan breaks structure, breaks this structure right here, comes down to the next OB, I'll be a little bit concerned that they're going to start breaking to the downside. So we need the one to kind of balance out here as trade partners and stuff like that. We need to kind of stay stabilized with the US dollar. ETH, BTC, BTC kind of consolidating in the zone. We could, like I said, we could see one more leg for ETH. One more that'll push ETH up, and that BTC leg won't be that much. So ETH should outpace BTC in that move, and I think we're going to kind of see that rejection in the zone right here. I think it was Johnny that pointed out this kind of move to me, or somebody. It might have been another member. But yeah, it's very interesting to kind of look at this. I think it was another member in our group to look at this and kind of look at it from that aspect, because had I looked at this, it would have been a lot different of a view. But if you kind of ignore the noise here, price kind of presents itself in the rest of the zones. So definitely an interesting chart. You can see clear support, broke through that support, found support, and now we're kind of pressing that trend support, right? So you're probably like, what's trend support? Trend support, something like this. That's your trend support, right? That's what you're kind of pressing up on right now. Trend support / downtrend support. So price could push up into there, but I think ultimately it comes back down for rejection. Crow. Ooh, look at Crow. Still doing its thing. And again, I know a lot of people are like, oh, price is building good, structure's building good. You have to understand what a bear flag is, okay? Bear flags are very important to follow. Very, very, very important. Oh, bear. Build long is bad, right? Build short is good. I'm not going to back down on that. No way. I've seen it way too many times. You don't want to get caught in that kind of move. Downtrend, lower lows, uptrend, right? We need the market to continue to make moves like this. Show stability in the support. We got the support here higher, then we got the support here lower. That's what I'm expecting for our next move. Is I need our moves to do this, and then once you start building lower lows and you're getting stomped in similar zones, you're looking for a reversal. That's what happens. BTC did the same thing. And you're going to build higher highs, right? And your next high is going to be really high, and then you're going to dump. So be careful. KDA still kind of hanging out. Broke out of its consolidation, moving into the next zone. And I consider this like our consolidation 1, consolidation 2. Probably see some price action moving over here. And then we might see a consolidation 3 up in this zone for 265. And then we'll probably see price drop back down and break bottoms on most things. So we'll see how that works. Again, I don't like this. This to me is bad, right? Lower high or lower low. So lower low, bad news. Even if structure builds here, I'm expecting structure to break below. That's what I would say for the market. Again, okay, KDA also, I want to put out on the weekly, extremely oversold. It's kind of rounded out a little bit, right, on strength. We can see here, they're kind of rounding out, but it doesn't mean that price can't round back down again. right? And you see it right in here. Stochastic showing it way oversold. So just be careful with thinking too optimistically. Look at the daily. Daily's way overbought. Way overbought, way overbought, way overbought. Stochastic, way overbought. You got, man, this KDA is looking crazy. Like, there's a lot of people just buying into it, and it's just so overbought that, you know, price could really come down deeper. There's a lot of money in here. You have to think about that, right? Think about the money that's in KDA. There's no profit taking here. There's no profit taking here. So yes, no profit taking here. No profit taking here. What they do? They push back into no profit taking zones. This coin right here is a 2021 coin. I think it was 2020 is when it came out. But if we think about that, you got a 2021 coin, and it hasn't had any profit taking, right? Now they're taking profit, which it could shove it very deep, because I'm sure there's people that are down here that still haven't sold yet with big bags. So they're hoping for good exit liquidity for somebody to sell to, and they'll just start dumping price. Again, level 1, I think level 2 is now forming, and then we might see a level 3 up here, smaller one. All right, so I would say that that's kind of the most important parts of the market. I gave you the highs and the lows. I told you where you can buy and where you can't buy. I want you to also keep in mind that there are other situations going on currently. If you look at the whole China situation, we look at the whole Taiwan thing, that could be a real issue for us. And you know, if they do what they did to the HK place, I'm not going to say the name, you know what I'm talking about, and invade and take over, that could be a real issue, and that could be another potential black swan event. Don't lose track of the facts, okay? Solana got hacked, I think yesterday or something like that, or today. And I would say, in addition to that, you know, there are other places that the R place is still attacking, and that has not ended yet. The W has not ended yet. So I just want to put out those obvious things that people need to keep an eye on. Also, I would say this too. Gas prices have come down, right? But have they come down to what they were? No. 2 years ago, year ago, gas prices where I live were roughly $1.90 to $1.95. Gas prices are now $4.95. They were almost $6. That is not coming down. That's like people saying, oh, if you bought here at this bounce, you would be up 40%, right? Which we do. But that's also kind of incorrect, because if people would have bought up here and they bought on this bounce, yeah, they got significantly more. But if they held this drop, not only did they may have gained X amount, but they've already lost 95% of their money, right? That's a 95.27% loss. So because it's a 95% loss, again, I think that KDA is kind of in that prime zone to be picking some up. But because it's a 95% loss, it doesn't matter if you bought the bounce. People are looking at you know, oh, well, it's up 100%. It's up 64%. Yeah, it's up 64%. You know what it is from here to the top? 1,926%. So 95% of that would be what? You'd be missing 1,400 or something like that, right? 1,400% of your 1,926%. That's how you have to look at it. Stop looking at the 100% doesn't mean anything, right? Because when we say 98%, that's to the downside, right? So that means 95% of the overall money you bought at is gone. As in, like, not gone, but that's how much has the market has pulled back. So if I put in $100 here, I now have $5. Does that make sense? And yeah, I may have gained from over here 1,926%, but now I'm right back to where I started if I bought here. So be careful again, getting into the hype. Listening to people talk about percentages up, percentage down when they don't even understand the difference. I would say that too. There's a lot of people out there who don't understand the difference between percentage down versus percentage up. I can make 100% here, but that's almost 2,000% to here. But 95% of 2,000, do the math. Again, I hope this helps some people out. Definitely doing my best to try and keep you guys up to date on the regular. I'm going to continue to keep trying to push forward on this. I'm gonna try and do some shorts, stuff like that on easy, simple TA to teach you guys some basic TA to so you guys understand how to look at markets and understand structure. If you guys ever want to catch me live or in Q&As, keep in mind also I work with Fundamental Secrets on a lot of their stuff. So you can catch me over there if you're part of that course. All right, guys. Until next time. Thanks. See you later.
Que tú sepas que te quise amar, pero la inmadurez me la jugó. Baby, eso no lo quería, no, no, no. Yeah, yeah. Hola, quiero que tú sepas que te quise amar. Solo una oportunidad, luego me voy. Sería chimba demostrarte quién yo soy, bebé.